Hey guys, Patrick here in Southwest Fort Worth, and I want to do a video this evening in the fish room talking about breeding angelfish. I've had some people go and request just some angelfish tips and stuff, so I wanted to go and talk about some of the angelfish. Now, first step, of course, breeding angelfish is getting yourself a pair of angelfish. And I've gone and grown out angelfish, but I found that the bigger the tank, like I had several that had grown out to breeding size, but when I put them in a bigger tank, that's when they finally started to pair off. So if you have some that are breeding size, but they haven't quite paired off yet, you might find a bigger tank, some bigger place to keep them in so that they can pair off. Now, you can't really sex them until they've paired off, though a lot of times the males tend to be a bit bigger than the females that I've seen. Once they pair it off, you're going to see the ovipositor tube on the female and then the male. Now, the reason I wanted to do this right now is because I've got a lot of different stage of angelfish, and right here we have two that are breeding. And if you look at that big one, see how it's smaller right there in that anal vent, and look at the female, the smaller one more to the forefront here. That is the female, and you can see it's thicker. Her ovipositor tube there is thick, and they are laying eggs on this slate. And once they've gone, and hopefully they'll not be bothered by my presence here and start laying some more. He's looking to fertilize. And there he goes, beginning to fertilize. So, and then she'll go and she'll lay more eggs. I have them on these slates, and you can get these at like Home Depot and stuff. There's some different ones you can get online. Once you have these slates and they lay it on there, if they're a good pair, they'll go ahead and they'll there he goes. They'll take care of the fry and raise them themselves, which is cool. But if you're wanting to get like numbers, because they can lay from like once every 3 weeks, once a month. It's cool how they're laying eggs there. I'd talk more, but I just think it's so cool. Anyway, but what I'll do is tomorrow morning I'll go ahead and grab this slate, and I will put that slate in a jar, just like I've got these slates in a jar. I'll have an air stone, and you can use, and you guys can look this up, but you can use some hydrogen peroxide, or I use methylene blue. You probably find it on Amazon. but I'll throw 3 drops in this thing, and this might be a not quite a half gallon jar right here. And in fact, if we go ahead and look at the bottom here, the focus, but that clump, those are newly hatched eggs. They're wigglers. On the bottom, and some are still coming off this other slate. I had 2 pairs lay eggs, and so I put the 2 slates in there, but I'll be moving these guys, and the way that I breed them out is I go and I have these jars from Angels Plus. And if you look in the jar, you'll see a bunch of them. They get them big fat bellies. And I have sponges at the bottom and the top. And I do something different. The Angels Plus actually talks about getting yourself like a hose, cutting it in the top of the sponge, and then I go and I've got a funnel to make it easier to feed, and then just so that I get a lot of water going through it, I got water from the top tanks, and I have water just pouring in as well as aerating it. But you don't have to have that, but I've got like 3 batches in this one jar here, and they'll be getting moved soon because they're getting big enough now. I've got another group right in there in that jar. Let me bring these to the front so we can actually see them. And big bellies. They'll be going in a tank soon. The ones that were in the jars, I've got some over here, and they are we got some nice fat bellies. You see they're just getting that angelfish shape. Now I go and I feed twice a day. They get brine shrimp, and when they get big enough they get flake food, but they get brine shrimp every day. So I'm hatching brine shrimp, get my brine shrimp direct. And then when they get even bigger, and I mean when they're dime size, they're at a point where they can just be on flake food or whatever. You just want to make sure to keep the water quality high. My system's a bit different because I do the aquaponics with the tanks, but a lot of people do like, daily water changes, especially for the fry, and then thin them out a bit as they get bigger and they'll grow faster. So there you have it, real quick. Get yourself a pair. They'll start laying eggs. Leave them with the parents if the parents are good. If not, throw them in a jar. Methylene blue. Once they've hatched or become free swimming, move them to your Angels Plus jar. A lot of people just have their own tanks and they do regular water changes on the tanks. I've done that before. I just really like how successful I am with these Angels Plus jars. And then when they get big enough, move them to their own tank. Rinse, repeat. Guys, I think I'm at, look at these guys. I think I'm just short of 1,000 subscribers right now, so if you're not subscribed, feel free to get that 1,000 mark. And I think I'll go ahead and end this video with some of these Odessa barb, tiger barb fry. This algae-rich tank that is actually good for fry. Alrighty. See you guys.